What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the show. So we're going to take a look and a listen to Brian Deese. Brian Deese is a White House advisor. He's going to be talking about the economy. And I don't have to tell you that the economy's bad. Everyone knows. You go to the grocery store, things cost more. You go to the gas station to pump gas, and it costs more. We are in a real scary situation. And I've been talking about this for the last a couple of months now, and it's only getting worse. We're seeing inflation continue to rise. We're seeing the Federal Reserve try to cool off the economy by raising interest rates. We just saw 0.75% last week. So this is really scary, and we could be in a situation where we're pushed into a recession, which means if we go into a recession, then companies could start laying off people. And that would just be a domino effect. I mean, it would really ruin our economy. And so we're going to take a look and listen to what he has to say. But first off, on this channel, we talk about money and the financial struggles that Americans are facing today. If that sounds like something interesting to you, please subscribe to the channel and hit that little bell notification. That way you get notified anytime we put out a video. And like always, if you see my name and a picture of me in the comment section, make sure you see a check mark next to my name. That check mark signifies that it's me. If you do not see that check mark, it's not me. It's someone trying to impersonate me. All right, so I want to talk a little bit about the check mark because I had someone send me a screenshot of their, I don't know if they were on their phone or on a computer, and it didn't have that little check mark. Now, that check mark, basically, once you get over 100,000 subscribers, you get verified by YouTube, and they put that little check mark. And that is, you have to have 100,000 subscribers or more in order to have that check mark. But the screenshot that they showed me did not have a check mark, but it had a highlight. Okay, it had a highlight around my name. So look for one of the two. Maybe, I don't know what was going on. I looked at it again. I do have the check mark now, but there could be a situation where there wasn't a check mark because of the YouTube was going through. A lot of times they're doing maintenance or they're doing different things with the channels. And so there could have been a situation where there was no check mark. Now, I just want to tell you this. And the reason I say the check mark is the easiest way to identify me is because I'm not going to ask you to go to my WhatsApp or send me a Cash App. I'm not going to ask any of that, okay? And I'm just trying to alert you because there are people that are out there, and they're still out there, with my picture and my name, and they're telling you to go to their WhatsApp or buy Bitcoin or what have you. That's not something that I'm going to do. I'm not going to tell you to do that. I don't want you to be in a situation where you believe that this is me and you go over there and you send them money through Cash App or they have your number now because you've reached out to them on WhatsApp. So that's why I'm telling you that. So if it looks fishy and they're telling you to go somewhere, disregard that. Now, if it's just a message and I'm saying hello, or if it's a message where I'm answering one of the questions that you have in the comments, that's totally different. Okay, that's safe. But if it's a situation where they're telling you to go somewhere else, go to their WhatsApp, do not do that, because that is they're setting you up and they're trying to scam you. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look and a listen to Brian Deese. He's going to be talking about the economy. Here we go.
Welcome back to Face the Nation. We're joined now by Brian Deese. He is the director of President Biden's National Economic Council. Good morning and welcome to the broadcast.
Thanks for having me.
You have an incredible challenge on your hands. Yes, the jobless rate is low, but wage growth not keeping pace with inflation. What do you say to Americans who are thinking that they might need a second job to pay their bills?
Well, it is an uncertain moment, and we face real challenges, global challenges. Inflation is a global challenge, 9% in the UK, over 8% in Europe. But we also have real strengths here at home. And so what I would say is we need to navigate through this transition in a way that gets us to stable growth without giving up all of the incredible economic gains that we've made. You mentioned the jobless rate at 3.6%. We've also seen household balance sheets strengthened over the course of this period.
Congressional Budget Office predicts that high inflation will persist until 2024. The Treasury Secretary has said it will stay higher than the originally forecast 4.7%. When does it come down? How much time are you talking about?
Well, prices are unacceptably high right now, and that's why the president has said we need to make this our top economic focus and do everything that we can to get them down. Most independent forecasters, the blue chip, the Federal Reserve, as you say, see inflation beginning to moderate over the course of this year. But our focus is on what are the steps, what are the policies that we can take. And the single most impactful thing that we could do right now is to work with Congress to pass legislation that would lower the costs of things that families are facing right now.
Like what?
Okay, so now this is key. You have to listen to what he's saying here. He's going to be talking about lowering the cost of prescription medication and things like that. So this is going to be the talking point for the White House in the foreseeable future. They're going to continue going back to this. Now, will they be able to implement any of this? It needs to go through Congress, but this is what their plan is.
Prescription drugs. We could lower the cost of prescription drugs by allowing Medicare to negotiate better prices. That would actually lower federal spending, and it would lower the cost that people pay.
The president.
Okay, now, and I want to talk a little bit about this because this is very, very important. Okay, because I know there's a lot of talk of stimulus checks and what happened to the forced stimulus check and what happened to the $200 raise for Social Security and a lot of different things that we hear people saying, what happened to that? Why aren't they moving towards that? I think the most important thing for the White House to do and for Congress to do right now is really address the lowering the cost of prescription medication, because that is taking a lot of money. Medicare has to pay a lot of money into the buying prescription medication. And so if they can find some type of a way to negotiate the prices of this medication, I think that's going to help a lot. And I think that will put the federal government in a position where they'll have extra money to provide more benefits or to lower the premiums when it comes to Medicare. And that's what needs to happen. That's what they need to focus on, because right now, these pharmaceutical companies are they are making a lot of money on this one thing. They're making a lot of money on prescription drugs because they are selling them for just astronomical prices, and Medicare's paying for them. And guess what? That means the premiums are higher. And so if they can get the premiums down by negotiating these prices, and this is something that Bernie Sanders has been talking a lot about, that would help every American who is receiving Medicare right now, because it would lower, and the hope is that they would lower the premiums as well. So this is something that's key, and you are going to hear them talk about this over and over again. They've been talking about it for a while now, but they need to move forward. The White House he's an advisor for the White House, but Congress needs to move forward with something, some type of a proposal, and get it on the floor of the House, get it on the floor of the Senate, and vote on it. And approve something like this, because if they can't, then it's still just going to be all talk. So it's going to have to come from the legislators. It's going to have to come from Congress. The White House can say, hey, we're on board for this, but they have to implement this.
Said this week in a rare interview that he actually has the votes to do it. Where's the deal? When's the vote?
Well, lowering prescription drug costs is one piece. Lowering utility costs by providing tax incentives for energy is another piece. But equally important, lowering the federal deficit by enacting long overdue tax reform. If we can do a package like that, we can move forward in the near future. It will not only help in lowering prices, but it will send a signal to the markets and the global economy that the United States is really deadly serious about taking on this inflation.
Hiking taxes isn't going to change the price of milk. When and how are you actually putting forward this package?
The package has been debated. It's been worked through.
It failed back when Build Back Better's version of it. So if inflation is the number one priority right now, when are you scheduling a vote to do the things you just laid out?
We're working very closely with congressional leadership, with Senate leadership on that. Senator Schumer is working with his caucus to try to get a final package in place, and we're hopeful that we'll see progress on that in the coming weeks.
Okay, now. And she's asking good questions, but she knows that he can't answer a lot of those questions because it's up to Congress, right? They're going to have to create this bill and get it through. But you heard some of the key points there: the lowering prescription medication. They want to address the energy situation, and they also want to address the tax situation. So that and you've heard this over and over again. They want to tax the rich, right? So that's considering they're still considering that, when it comes down to it. But they're trying to put a plan together. That's what's important to understand when it comes to this whole thing. They're still trying to get something together. Not Build Back Better, a different name, but they want to focus on some of those key points. And so we'll have to see if Congress can do anything. Now, what I'm looking at and what I think, and the rest of the clip, I'm just going to talk now. So, well, if I see anything else in the clip, maybe I'll do a separate video. But I want to talk about this because I think this is very, very important. What we're seeing right now is the Democrats. This is their final opportunity. Congress will be going on recess at the end of this week. So on the 24th, they'll go on recess, and then they won't return until after the 4th of July. And so they don't have much time. And Congress needs to do something. Democrats actually have to put something on the floor. They have to put one of these bills on the floor. And this is their last opportunity because, I mean, the way things are looking right now, especially with the economy doing so poorly, and looking at who's in office, you have the Democrats controlling everything. People are going to want change. So in November, things are going to change. I mean, that's pretty much, I think most people can agree that we are going to see either the House and the Senate, or the House or the Senate turn to the Republicans. Okay, so Republicans will be controlling one of those or both. So if that's the situation, now we're looking at, okay, what are Republicans going to do? Are they going to do anything when it comes to any of these hot button issues? I don't know if they're even going to address some of these things. So we'll have to see in the future if that happens. But the Democrats have this final opportunity to move forward with something, and this is their only opportunity. And if they can't get something, and it's easy as just putting something together, that's what we're looking at. All the Senate has to do is have someone author a bill. All they need is one senator to put something together and bring it to the floor. And my whole thing, and I've been talking about this for a while, they just need to start bringing things to the floor and voting on them. And if they don't pass, they don't pass. But you have people on record. That's what they need to do. Okay, tackle some of these. Lowering prescription medication. Who would be against that? Believe it or not, you're going to have politicians that will vote against that. But bring that to the floor. Do a standalone bill where you bring that to the floor and see. Have people on record saying, I am opposed to lowering prescription medication. Okay, so that's what they need to do. And it's shocking to me that they're not playing hardball like that. That's where they're holding these politicians accountable. If you don't like this, okay, well, you're going to have to answer to your constituents. And a good example of what not to do is what they're doing with the gun debate. You had this reform. We're going to have this bipartisan group. They're going to get together. The House already passed a bill. They already passed a bill that the Senate could have voted on. Okay, Majority Leader Schumer could have brought that to the floor. They could have found out exactly where they were when it came to gun reform. But they chose not to do that. They said, you know what, let's work together. Let's have some bipartisan bill. Let's put that together. And so they did get the markup of this bipartisan bill. But guess what? Now you have politicians saying, oh, you know what, I don't know. I don't like this. I don't know about the domestic violence portion of this bill and what, the boyfriend loophole and all this stuff. And so now they're just going around in circles again. And it looks like at this point, they haven't agreed upon this final bill for gun reform. And so, and time is just going to keep passing and passing and passing. And then it'll get to a point where it's just like, you know what? We really can't do anything. So let's just do the least amount possible. And that's what we might see in the very, very far future when it comes to gun reform. That's just my opinion when it comes down to that. But they need to start just bringing this stuff to the floor, find out who's against it, find out who's for it, and then just move forward. And if the bills don't pass, they have the politicians on record right before a midterm. Make these politicians have to answer to the public why they don't agree with some of these different proposals. That's the strategy that I think they should be taking. So we'll have to see where they go with all this, but you're going to hear those three key points, okay? You're going to hear this over and over again coming from the White House. They're going to be talking about lowering prescription medication. They're going to be talking about doing something when it comes to lowering energy costs. And then they're going to be talking about taxing taxing the wealthy, okay, or rolling back. What they're saying is rolling back some of the Trump era tax cuts that were benefited the wealthier individuals. So that is going to be the talking point. Will they be able to put a bill together with that? We'll have to see. But that is what you're going to hear time and time again. And if we do see another proposal come out, some other type of Build Back Better, it's going to address those three key points. So if you guys have any questions, let me know down below. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe for more, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.